So let's go ahead and now take a look at practice test 1 and focus on the quantitative reasoning section of the exam. I'm going to actually go over all the questions of this exam. So just in case you're stuck, and of course you can go ahead on YouTube and look at the description below. I'm going to go over the entire exam, but if you're stuck on question 7 and question 14, just go ahead and look at the description below and just click on question 7 and 14 to save some time. Question number 1, it's saying x plus y is equal to 16 and y plus 4 is equal to 10. All right, so how do you approach this problem? Right, this is the quantitative comparisons. And if you remember from the overview video, I told you that you should automatically remember what answer choice A, answer choice B, C, and D already stand for. Answer choice A is always quantity A, or column A is always greater than column B. Answer choice B would always be column B is greater than column A. And then answer choice C is that both columns are equal, or both the values are equal. And D is not enough information, cannot be determined, we don't know. So let's go ahead and take a look at the first 4 questions of the exam. Question 1 again. I have 2 variables on the first equation over here, and I have y plus 4 is equal to 10 with only 1 variable. So this becomes very easy. Y plus 4 is equal to 10. So let's go ahead and deal with the second equation. And I automatically can tell that I can subtract by both sides, right? You want to isolate for the variable, right? This is your foundation of algebra. If you're missing this, please go back in our test prep book and review the algebra chapter. So y is equal to 6. So y is equal to 6, all right? And now this makes this equation very easy. I know that y is equal to 6, so I can plug that in. So this equation becomes now x plus 6 is equal to 16. Remember the golden rule of algebra, you want to isolate the variable. How do I do that? I want to subtract 6 from both sides so I can have x by itself. So I subtract 6. This of course cancels out. X is equal to 10, all right? Now you're not done, okay? What is column A is asking you? And look at column A and look at column B. Column A is telling you what is greater. Column A is x, and then column B is y. So what is greater? So y is 6, x is 10. Obviously, x is greater, so the answer choice would be A, that column A is in fact greater than column B. Let's take a look at question number 2. A is less than B, but B is less than 0. Okay, so that means that B has to be a negative number, and A must also be a negative number. So let's go ahead and just, so whenever you're given a situation like this, I like to use hypothetical numbers. So what's a value less than 0? Let's say negative 1. So let's say B is negative 1, so negative 1, and then A must be lower than negative 1, so let's just say negative 2. Okay, and now what's column A asking you? Column A is saying the absolute value of B, and then column B is telling you absolute value of A. So let's see. A is negative 2, so A is equal to negative 2. However, if I do the absolute value sign, I'll get that A is equal to 2. If I take the absolute value sign of B, B is over here. Remember, this is B, this is A. B is negative 1, right? B is equal to negative 1. But if I take the absolute value of negative 1, I'm given just 1. So in this scenario over here, right, because this is what my columns are determining, what's greater? Is A greater or B greater? It turns out that actually A is always greater, right, because I have positive 2 here versus to a positive 1. Therefore, this is greater since this is in column B. The answer choice is B, that column B is greater than column A. Let's take a look at question number 3. Question number 3, you have x squared is equal to 16. Okay, column A is saying what's the value of x, or column B is saying negative 4. What's greater, right? Are they equal? Can you not determine the information? Let's go ahead and take a look at this, right? Right off the back, some people might go, very, very quickly, oh, this is easy. X squared is equal to 16. 4 squared is 16. X is equal to 4, right? But don't act too quick. Remember this rule, right? Don't forget that x squared is equal to 16. If you square both sides, x can actually be plus or minus 4. Remember that, okay? It can be plus 4 or negative 4, positive 4 or negative 4. So we have 2 values. We don't know actually whether it's 4 or negative 4. So we're kind of stuck here essentially, right? We have no idea what the if this column is greater than this column, right? Maybe it's negative 4, maybe it's 4, and therefore automatically the answer choice is D, cannot be determined. Question number 4 over here. I have a circle. I'm given that the radius is 10 centimeters, okay? Column A asks you for the area, okay? I hope you remember that the area of a circle is pi r squared. The radius is 10, so 10 squared times pi, which is 100 pi, versus 2 to the 8th power. Now, here you can go ahead and go to your calculator and plug in 2 times 2 times 2, 8 times. But hopefully, you've taken a look at the chart on our book, and you should actually memorize 2 to the 8th power is 256, right? That shows up, I mean, that's pretty common. 2 to the 8th you should already have in your head. If not, go ahead and use your calculator. So 256 versus 100 pi. Once again, you don't really need a calculator for this question. I know that pi is equal to 3.14. So what's 100 times 3.14? That's about 314, right? 314 versus 256. What's greater? Of course, the area of the circle over here. So the answer is going to be that column A is greater than column B. Therefore, the answer for this question would be A. So now, question number 5. The sum of two acute angles versus 90 degrees, right? Which column is greater, right? So the sum of two acute angles. Well, what is an acute angle? What is the definition of an acute angle? An acute angle is defined of any angle less than 90 degrees, okay? So less than 90 degrees versus 90 degrees. And you know what? I bet a lot of students already are, they jump the gun and say, well, hey, sum of two acute angles, well, less than 90, but if I add two angles less than 90 degrees, it must be greater than 90, and a lot of students will fall for it very quickly and choose column A is greater, but that's not true. You have no idea what the sum of two acute angles are. What if I told you the one angle was 5 degrees and the other angle was 10 degrees, right? Some of that is 15 degrees, and which makes column B greater, right? So you have no idea. The answer for this question is actually D, because we don't have enough information. We don't know the angles of both of the two acute angles over here. So the answer choice is D. Hopefully you did not go for answer choice A. Let's go ahead and take a look at question number 6. We have a graph over here. Please don't mind my poorly written hand-drawn graph over here. But column A is giving you the value 3/4. Column B is telling you find the slope. Which value is greater, right? Which column is greater? Well, let's take a look at the slope. How do you find the slope? Hopefully you know the slope formula by heart. It's y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1, and you should certainly find the slope, which is noted as m over here. So first, before you do this, go ahead and find the coordinates, right? The two coordinates that were given. So hopefully you know how to read an xy coordinate graph. The first point, let's pick it over here. So we're going to go along the x-axis first. So it's 1, 2, 3, and 4. So the x is 4, and then we're going up 2. Therefore, the value of the place of where the first coordinate is 4, 2, and then we're given this coordinate over here. So we're going to go over once again and read along the x-axis, go along 2 places, and go down 1, 2, 3, 4. But this is the fourth quadrant. Remember, this is all negative. So this is -4. And now, once again, even if you're an expert, what I like to do is I like to label that this is x1, this is y1, this is x2, this is y2. Okay? And now I can easily plug it into my formula. What's y2? y2 is -4. -4 minus y1 is 2. All over, what's x2? x2 is 2 minus 4. -4 minus 2 is -6. 2 minus 4 is -2. And I get that -6 divided by -2 is reduced to 3. Now, what's greater? 3 or 3/4? Well, I think that's pretty obvious. 3 is definitely greater than 3/4. Therefore, column B is greater. The answer choice is B. Let's go ahead and take a look at question number 7. We're given 8 blue glass marbles and 6 red glass marbles. And we're going to go ahead and pick, it's 2 marbles out of the bag. And in column A, your scenario you're given is, what's the probability of choosing 2 red glass marbles, right? So you're picking one first, and then without replacing the marble, you're picking another marble. What's the chance of you getting 2 red glass marbles versus your probability of choosing a blue glass marble plus then a red glass marble? So how do you go ahead and do this, right? This is probability, okay? Some students don't actually like this topic, okay? These since we're taking a marble out and not putting it back in, right? These are two separate. These are independent moves, right? So we have to multiply basically. And first, what do? We want to go ahead and find out our denominator, right? What are we working with here? So we have 8 plus 6 all together in a bag. So we have, 14 marbles. 8 are blue, 6 are red. And the probability of us drawing our first red glass marble is going to be a 6 in 14 chances, right? Because there are 6 red marbles. But now if I take one red marble, right, I reduce one from the back, so now there's 13 marbles left. And well, now instead of 6 red marbles, there's only 5 red marbles left. And there you go. You have to go ahead and do this. 6 times 5 is 30. 14 times 13 will give you 182. And now you have to compare it versus the probability of drawing a blue and then red. So once again, similarly, I have 14 marbles again. And my chance of drawing my first blue marble will be 8 out of 14 chances times a red. Remember, we still have 6 red glass marbles in this situation, so it would be 6 over 13 because now we've lost a blue marble over here, right? So 8 times 6 is 48. 14 times 13 is 182. And if you go ahead and reduce the fractions using your calculator, you will find out that column B is indeed greater than column A. Therefore, your answer is answer choice B. Question number 9. Y is not equal to 0. What is positive, right? Which one of these answer choices must be positive? Please keep in mind, right, this answer choice may have either one correct answer choice or many, right? In the textbook, we've labeled it as circle and then square, just to make sure that you guys know that there can be potentially more than one possible answer that's correct. Well, actually, there has to be 2 or more. If y is not equal to 0, what is positive? Answer choice A is absolute value of y. Any time you see something with an absolute value, the resulting answer will always be positive, so therefore A must be correct. How about y to the negative second power, right? You have to recall the laws of exponents, right? Y to the negative 2, you can go ahead and write this as 1 over y squared, right? Remember, anytime you have a negative exponent, it becomes positive in the denominator, and 1 over y squared. So if it's negative y, it'll still be positive. If y is positive, it'll still be positive, and 1 over any positive number, it will still be a positive number, right? It might be a small number, but nonetheless, it will be a positive number. Therefore, answer choice B is correct. Answer choice C, y squared times y to the negative 4th. Common bases. So now we just have to use the laws of exponents. So I'm going to add the exponents since I have common bases. So 2 plus minus 4 gives us y to the negative 2. And once again, it's the same exact thing, right? Y to the negative 2 is 1 over y squared. Once again, I know that it will always result in a positive number. Y to the 0. Anything raised to the 0 power is always equal to 1. Remember that. Is 1 a positive number? Of course it is. Check. Answer choice E, 1 to the y to the negative 5th power, right? Remember, this is a tricky situation over here, okay? I'll tell you why. This is a negative, it's not a problem that this is a negative exponent. The problem here is that this 5 is an odd number. The exponent is odd. What does that mean? Remember this, right? So I can go ahead and actually convert this to y to the 5th, right? 1 over y to the negative 5th is the same as just y to the 5th. This number is easier to work with. I mean, this looks much nicer, so let's go ahead and work with that. If y is 1, well, then 1 to the 5th power is a positive number, which is good. But what if y is negative 1, right? Negative 1 raised to the 5th power is negative 1. Remember, any time you have an odd exponent and a negative base, that means that your result will be actually a negative number. So in this case, we're not sure if it's positive or negative because it could be either. So answer choice E is not a correct answer. And then lastly, answer choice F, y to the 2 parentheses to the 3rd power. Once again, laws of so this question really tests whether you know all the rules of exponents. And then in this situation, whenever you have this, the rule is you must multiply, right? Because it's being y to the 2 raised to the power of 3 And the rule is you just multiply simply the exponents, which becomes y to the 6th. And of course, that results in a positive number because we have an even exponent, and the answer choice is going to be F. So the correct answer is A, B, C, D, and F. Okay? Let's take a look at question number 10. You're going 60 miles an hour between 10:30. Well, not 60 miles an hour, sorry. You're actually just going 60 miles. You just traveled 60 miles between 10:30 a.m. and 1:45 p.m. What is, right, how many miles are you going per hour? So basically this is a distance over time problem. So you can go ahead and get the miles per hour. So I know I went 60 miles, and now I simply have to find the time. This is a simple problem, right? So what's the time between 10:30 and 1:45? Well, pretty simple, right? 10:30, 11:30, 12:30, 1:30, so it's 3 hours. And then I have 15 minutes remaining, right? So 3 hours and 15 minutes, but hopefully you know that you have to convert this 15 minutes by the hours, and hopefully you know that each 15 minutes is equal to 0.25, right? 1/4 of an hour. So this is actually just 3.25 over 60, which results in 14 point something, 14.7 or 8 or something like that. And the answer choice should be C, 18.5, right? You'll get something that is rounded to 18.5. Okay, so question number 11. We're given an expression over here, and you have to simplify this expression. Xy to the third, z to the 0 power, and your denominator reads x to the third, y to the fourth. Right off the back, you want to go ahead and make your life easier. I know right off the back, anything raised to the 0 power is simply 1, okay? And anything times 1 is just, it's the number over here we have. So I can just cross this off. I don't really care about this. This is nothing, okay? Let's cross that off, okay? Because we don't have a z over here. I have xy to the third, so let me use a red color marker over here. Xy to the third. Once again, the laws of exponents, you must know it, okay? So this is x times y raised to the third power, and if you want to do that, you have to understand that x is being raised to the third power and y is being raised to the third power. So it's actually x to the third times y to the third all over x to the third times y to the fourth, and this problem actually works out very nicely. X to the third cancels out with x to the third. We're left with just 1, and then y to the third and y to the fourth. Once again, common basis. If I'm dividing fractions, I'm going to go ahead and subtract the exponents. So 3 minus 4 is -1. So it becomes y to the -1, or it simply becomes, so y to the -1 is also the same thing as 1 over y, right? Make sure you know the laws of exponents, right? Go back to the math manual, right, the math primer, and make sure you know how to do this, okay? Y to the -1 power is the same as 1 to the y to the +1 power. So the answer is just 1 over y. Question number 12, Pythagorean theorem. Okay, once again, this is an extremely easy question. Chances are you won't see a question that is this easy. They'll definitely give you values that you actually have to do the work. And if you know right off the bat, this is a perfect Pythagorean triplet. So it's a 3, 4, 5 triangle. But if you don't know it, let's go ahead and actually use the formula. So we have a right triangle over here. Anytime you see a right triangle and you're missing a leg, go ahead and write down the equation of Pythagorean theorem. A squared plus b squared is equal to c squared, where c squared is always the hypotenuse, right? The hypotenuse is opposite to the right angle, and it is actually the largest side, okay? So I know that this is 5, right? What's 5? Is c squared 5 or c5, right? This is well, this could be either a or b, doesn't really matter, but this is c. So this is c, let's just say this is a, and this is b. Okay, so I know that a is 3, so it's 3 squared plus b, well, we don't know, this is a variable, so this is b squared, is equal to 5 squared. So that's 3 squared is 9, 9 plus b squared is equal to 25. You want to isolate for the variable, right? So I'll subtract 9 from both sides, and I'll be left with b squared is equal to 16. And then I can square both sides and get b is equal to 4, right? B is equal to 4, and that's my answer. Let's go ahead and look at question number 13. Question number 13 reads, which one of the following could be an integer? Which one of the following could be an integer? Let's look at answer choice A. So anytime you see this, run down each answer choice. The average of two consecutive integers. First of all, you have to know what consecutive means, right? Consecutive goes in order. 1, 2, 5, 6, 9, 10. Let's see. 2 plus 1 is 3. 3 divided by 2 is, right, is it an integer? No, it's not, right? The average, okay? I hope you know the average formula, right? The sum of numbers over the number of numbers is equal to the average, right? So you probably know this. This is this is pretty easy. You can do it in your head. Once again, 10 plus 9 is 19. 19 divided by 2, once again, does not result in an integer, right? You get something 0.5, okay? Because the number is odd, right? Anything divided by 2, if it's not even, you're not going to go ahead and get an integer. So it's not answer choice A. Answer choice B, the average of 8 consecutive integers. Well, okay. Well, let's just go ahead and this question really relies on you understanding the number theory. But let's forget and say you have no idea what a number theory even is. So just go ahead and make your life easy and use hypothetical values, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 consecutive integers. So, so you have 1 through 8, and now you can go ahead and add it up. So 8 plus 7 plus 6 plus 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 gives you 36 all over 8, and that results in 4.5. And of course, 4.5 is not an integer, right? 4.5 is not an integer. Therefore, answer choice B is not correct. Answer choice C reads the average of 8 and 11. 11 plus 8 is 19. 19 divided by 2. Already I know that 19 is an odd number. Any odd number divided by 2 will not result in an integer. Answer choice D reads the average of 3 consecutive integers, right? So the average of 3 consecutive integers, let's go ahead and 1, 2, 3. 3 plus 2 is 5. 5 plus 1 is 6. 6 divided by 3 is 2. Wow, that works out, right? So this works out. So you can go ahead and check for various different examples, and you'll see that indeed you always result in an integer. Answer choice E reads the average of 11 and 22. Once again, 21 plus 11 is going to be 22, 30, 33, and then 33, once again, is an odd number. Any odd number divided by 2 does not result in an integer. So the answer choice is going to be D. Question number 14. 4 parentheses x minus 1 is equal to x plus 8. You have to use the distributive property. So 4 times x and then 4 times negative 1. 4 times x is 4x minus 4 times 1 is 4 is equal to x plus 8. I want to isolate and solve for the variable. So I will move minus x. This cancels out. I'm left with 3x is equal to, so I'll do plus 4 here and plus 4 here, and I get 12. I can go ahead and divide both sides by 3. X is equal to 4. So the answer would be A, answer choice A. Okay, so let's take a look at question number 15. Right, after a 20% discount at the bookstore, a recipe book sells for $10. What was the original price of the book? So we have a 20% discount, and the sale price is $10, and the question is asking what is the original price, right? Okay, so this is what you do, okay? You have to remember the formula. Okay, anytime you're trying to find the original price, so it's not so simple. You know, I have a shirt that's $100. I have a 50% discount, so I simply do 100 times 0.5, and I get that it's going to be $50 discounted. Right? It's not as simple as that, but it still is simple. Okay, so anytime you get that, you want to use an equation where you use 100% minus your discount, which is going to be 20%. 20% discount. Times the original price. Well, equal to your sale price, right? Think about it for a second, okay? Think about this for a second, right? 100 minus 20, so I know that there's a 20% discount, okay? And if I do 100 minus 20% of my original price, I'll get the sale price. And I know my sale price already, which is $10, right? And in this case, my variable will be the original price, okay? So this is my original price times 100% minus 20% is 80%, but please don't go ahead and write this on your scrap paper. 80%, you have to convert that into decimal, right? So it's 0.8 times x, so it's 0.8x, it's equal to $10, And then you will go ahead and solve for x. 0.8, right, divide by 0.8 by both sides. X is equal to 0.8 is divided by 10. Use your calculator. It's going to be 12.5, right? 12.5, $12.50. That will be your original price. This is how you solve the problem. Let's go ahead and look at question number 16. Question number 16 reads, the average of A and B is 16. Okay, average of A plus B is equal to 16, and the average of A plus B plus C is equal to 22. Find the value of C, right? What is C? I actually love these kind of problems, right? This relies you to use the average formula. What is the average formula? Sum of numbers, once again, right? Sum of numbers over number of numbers is equal to the average, okay? And if you don't use this formula, you can easily mess up, okay? Why? Take a look at this. It's saying A plus B is not equal to 16. The sum, A plus B, the average of A and B is 16. The average of A, B, and C is 22, okay? I can go ahead and find out, what can I find out? All right, can you go ahead and use this equation? I have the average, I have the sum of, I have the number of numbers basically, and this is what I can do. So I have A and B, and I know that I have 2 basically, and I can go ahead and find out the sum very easily. So 16 times 2 is 32. So A plus B is 32. So this is my sum. The sum of A and B is 32. The average is 16. And then A plus B plus C, if the average is 22, I can use this formula. How many numbers do I have on top? It's 3. So 22, I can go ahead and cross multiply. 22 times 3 is 66. So A plus B plus C is equal to 66. So this question doesn't really rely you to find out what A is equal to or what simply B is equal to, so you can find out what C is equal to. I know that A plus B is 32, right? A plus B is 32, so I can plug it in, right? A plus B. What's A plus B? I know it. It's 32. 32 plus C is equal to 66, right? Ignore this. And it becomes very easy. I have just one variable, minus 32, minus 32. C is equal to 4 and 3, 34. C is equal to 34, which is answer choice C. So that's the correct answer. Let's look at question number 17. Do we have space on this board? Yeah, I'll cram it in, okay? Hopefully it's not too messy. Question number 17 reads, which of the following is the slope of a line of the perpendicular line 3x plus 5y is equal to 10. 2 things you have to know. First, how do you get the perpendicular line? And second is, what is the formula actually? You should know the line formula is y is equal to mx plus b, because right now it is not in this form. So right now it's pretty ugly. You can't really do anything with it. So right off the bat, the first step is make sure you convert it to this. So I want to basically isolate for y. I want to solve for y. So I'm going to move everything to the right side. So it's going to be 5y is equal to minus 3x plus 10, right? All I did was subtract 3x from both sides. And now I'm going to divide by 5 because I want y by itself. So y is equal to negative 3x plus 10 over 5, or, right, so now you have to know the fraction rules, right? Let's make it more simple, right? It could be, this is the same thing as negative 3x over 5 plus 10 over 5, right? I can go ahead and separate these two because I'm adding. So they're actually 2 different terms. Well, they're like terms, but I can go ahead and separate them. And, well, 10 divided by 5 is simply 2. So this becomes negative 3x over 5 plus 2. Y is equal to this. Now, y is equal to mx plus b. M is the slope. What is the slope here? The slope happens to be negative 3 over 5, right? So the slope for this problem is negative 3 over 5. But the question is asking you, what is the slope of the perpendicular line? Anytime you go ahead and see a question that's asking you to find the perpendicular line, you have to go ahead and take the reciprocal, okay? And negate, okay, so what do? You negate and take the reciprocal. So if it's negative 3 over 5, I'm negating a negative term, which is a positive, and I'm going to flip this. So it becomes positive 5 over 3. Okay, so the slope of the perpendicular line to this equation over here is going to be 5/3, which is answer choice B. Okay, so there you go. Thank you for watching this video. If you